Welcome back to Drafting with Mark, and in this video we're going to take a look at putting some dimension on this one using paper space. Now, in one other video I did before when I was doing some dimensioning, I put the dimensions on the outside in the layout tab. In this one I'm going to show you how to use paper space, but also putting the dimensions in model space. So if that's something that you want to see, stay tuned. Now remember, if you haven't seen this video, I'm going to link it up here in the top right. So you can go ahead and click on that one and see me create this video. And in that video, I did explain how to use offset using some other different things. And I also showed you a neat little trick with the fillet command. So if that's something that you want to see, please go back and take a look at that command. All right. So with this one, the first thing I'm going to do, let's go ahead and jump over to the layout tab. So I'm going to click on layout 1. And then I'm going to create a B-size title block. Remember, the measurements for a B-size title block is 17 by 11. So let's go ahead and start with the rectangle command. I'm going to type in 0, 0, which will be my lower left corner, and then 17, 11. It's going to be the upper right corner. And it looks like my numbers got a little off here. Let me do that one more time. So rectangle, 0, 0, enter, and then 17, 11. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and zoom the extent so we can take a look at it. Kind of zoom out a little bit more. Let's do our offset to represent where our border will be. So let's go ahead and offset a distance of 0.25 to the inside. And then I'm going to go ahead and start adjusting my viewport here. So I'm going to select this viewport and I'm going to place it on the inside of where my border would be of my title block. So I'll go ahead and do that. And then one last step that I'm going to do here is I'm going to make this white paper fit inside of my title block, right? The easiest way of doing that is going to the layout tab. Let's go ahead and choose page setup. Underneath this layout, let's go ahead and choose modify. We're going to go to the DWG to PDF. I'm going to choose ANSI full bleed B size 1711. I'm going to change this to extents. I'm going to center this plot and I'm going to leave this set to 1 to 1. Go ahead and hit OK and then close. Alright, so now that we have this view in place, let's go ahead and double click on the inside of this. So once I double click, you see there's a bolded area that goes around. That means that I'm inside of this viewport. Next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and zoom the extent on the inside of here. So I'm going to select here and then I'm going to adjust the scale. Inside of this one, I'm going to set this one equal to 1 to 20. So now 1 to 20 is the scale factor. Now I have to keep this number in mind that this is the number that I'm going to use to set up everything inside of my model space. So keep that number in mind. Once I have this view created the way I want it and it's locked where I need it to be, go ahead and hit the little lock button here. So that'll prevent you from changing this number by accident or even panning or moving this. So now that I'm inside of this viewport, if I pan around, it's going to keep my view labeled the same. Let's go ahead and double click here on the outside, and everything in paper space at this point is set up. Let's go ahead and jump to the modeling tab. So back here in model space, let's go ahead and create a layer real quick. So I'm just going to go to layer and I'm going to go to create a new layer here, and I'll call this one center. And then I'm going to go ahead and load a line type for this one. So I'm going to click on the word continuous, load, then I'll go to center and hit OK. And then I'm going to select center again, hit OK. And let's go ahead and change this to a color just so we can see the difference between it. So I'm going to select the color here, and then I'm going to make this color number 5. Go ahead and hit OK, and then close it here. Alright, another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to type in a command called center layer. Let's not use the exe yet. So the center layer command, and I'm going to go ahead and set this equal to the layer that I just created. So that's going to be CEN. Go ahead and hit enter. And what that does now is that when I use those center marks and those center lines command, it's going to automatically put it on that layer for me. Now I'll go ahead and put in the center exe command. And then I usually like to set this extension to 5. And the reason I'm using 5 is because this is a metric drawing. If this was used in inches, then I would leave it set to 0.12 or even make it 1/4 of an inch. Alright, so this is now created. Let's go ahead and put those center marks on here, right? So I'm going to jump to the Annotate tab. And then I'm going to go ahead and come down here at the bottom here. And let's go ahead and adjust this so we make it match what we have out there in paper space. So I'm going to go and set this equal to 1 to 20. Now I'm going to go and select my center marks. And I'm going to select this circle here, this one here, and then this one. Okay, I'm going to zoom into here and I'm going to just draw a line right between here. So I'm just using the regular line command. So that's just L enter. I'm going to click this endpoint to this endpoint. Go ahead and hit escape. And then I'm going to use match properties. The shortcut for match properties is MA. Go ahead and select match properties. I'm going to select this blue line first. And then I'm going to select my blue line in between. Okay, so these are easy to do. The next one I have to do is the one that's on this slot here. And remember that this is a curved slot. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and draw a circle, center radius, right from this center. And then I'm going to place it at the center here. I'm going to use the trim command. And this time I will select cutting edges, so come down and select cutting edges. And I'm going to select this shape as my cutting edge. Go ahead and hit enter. And then when I trim this line off, it should automatically extend back to that. Alright. Go ahead and hit the escape button. Now let's look at the extend command, right? So instead of trimming, we're going to go to extend. We're just going to click on these lines just so they extend right to here. Alright, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line, so that's L enter, from this center again, out to this center. Alright, I'm going to use the extend command again, and I'm going to extend this one just to this location here. Finally, I'm going to draw a line from this endpoint going right to this quadrant. Alright, so now I have all of my lines created. Let's go ahead and make them onto the right layers. So I'm just going to choose match properties. I'm going to select any one of these plus symbols here, or my center lines here. And then I'm just going to go ahead and click on these 3 objects here. Alright. Remember that I set my extension to 5 on that, so I'm going to use the lengthen command to make everything look the same. So I'm going to go to lengthen. I'm going to choose the delta option, type in 5, enter, and then I'm going to extend each one of these out 5. Okay. Now it's customary to try to have a plus in between here, and I'm going to show you another little trick of how to do that. So I have these center marks drawn on here. I'm just going to zoom into this one. I'm going to go to the circle command. I'm just going to find the center of this one. I'm going to click here. And what I'm going to do is kind of come out to here. And I can see that that number should be 2. So the radius of this circle is going to be 2. Then I'm going to go back to circle, center radius. I'm going to use this center again. Go here. And you can see this kind of comes out to a distance of 4. Right? So I'm going to go 2 and 4. I'm going to select both of these circles, use the copy command. I'm going to go to the center here, or this midpoint, and now I'm going to place them at this center and also at that center. Alright, let's go ahead and zoom into here. Let's go back to the trim command, and I'm going to trim these portions off. So I'm going to trim here, between here, this one, and this one. Exact same thing on the other side. So I'm going to trim between here and here, this side and that side. Go ahead and escape out of that command. And now I'm going to go ahead and start deleting these circles now that I just created. Go ahead and delete those. And then I'm going to go ahead and come down here and get rid of my original ones here. Alright, perfect. So now that has the plus in the middle of it and everything looks the same, which is kind of something that I like to do. The next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and take a look at my dimensions, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at our dimensioning style. You can just hit D, enter, or you can select this icon here. Once the dialog box come open, double click on annotative, and what that means is that it's going to lock it to this 1 to 20, which is the exact same thing that I have on the outside here. Let's go to modify. I'm going to start off in the primary units tab. So I'm going to select here. Just going to suppress my trailing zeros. Underneath the text, we can leave it this size. We have plenty of room on our drawing for this one. Underneath the symbols and arrows, go ahead and turn your center marks off since we created all of those. And then hit OK and then close. Alright, so now we're ready to start dimensioning this. Now, the drawing that I had before had a lot of extra dimensions, and that's something that we're not going to do on this one. So let's go ahead and take care of our linear dimensions first. So I'm going to go dimension from this endpoint to this endpoint. I'll go ahead and place this dimension. And switch over to the annotate tab, and then I'm going to use the continue option here. Then I'm going to select this endpoint. Let's go ahead and put our radius dimensions on, and we have a bunch of those. So I'm going to go to dimension, radius. I'm going to select here. I'm just going to hit the enter button on my keyboard just to repeat the command so I can come to the next one. Once again, I'm hitting enter. Doing this one. Enter again, and I'm going to go ahead and place this one. I'm going to do this one. This one. And really, to be honest with you, the only one I need here is this one. So the rest of those dimensions are really not needed that you can see on the drawing. Alright, two more that I need to go ahead and place on here is that I have a couple of diameter dimensions, which is located here. I'm hitting enter on my keyboard again, and I'm doing this one as well. The last one we have here is an angular dimension. So let's go ahead and take a look at an angular dimension. I'm just going to click this line here, and then this line. Alright, let's zoom out. So we have all of our dimensions go ahead and placed on here. We need to go ahead and clarify that these dimensions here need to be two places in front of them. And there's a couple of different ways how we can do that. So I'm just going to select these first. I'm going to do a right click, go down to properties, and it should open your properties window up. And that's what you see here on the side. I'm going to scroll down until I see primary units, and then the prefix before these I'm just going to type in 2x. Let me make sure that other X is capitalized. When I hit enter, I can take a look over here at my drawing. I see that it got rid of my R in front of these, right? So I'm going to go ahead and come back to this, and I'm just going to put 2x and then put an R behind it. Go ahead and hit enter. Now I can escape out of this. And so those are created correctly now. So all of these dimensions are done, right? The most important thing that we need to do is make sure that this matches what my viewport scale is. So now when I click back over to the layout tab, you can see that all of that is done and it is created, right? Rather simple to do this one. The dimensioning on this one didn't take that long, but it's just another option for you. And you will also see that if I put dimensions out here, so if I just use a regular dimension, they should be exactly the same size. So these dimensions are created on the outside of paper space, but you can see that they look exactly the same. That's why I like using my dimensions on the outside, but if you're going to do it on the inside, just make sure that you match the viewport with whatever your scale is on the annotation option, alright? So hopefully you enjoyed this video and you learned a little bit more about dimensioning, especially with putting those crosshairs and those center marks and center lines and things of that nature. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. Go ahead and share it with somebody who you might think need this, or also leave me a comment if there's something that you missed or you want to see me do. Alright, so once again, thank you for watching.